Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Wednesday, October 15th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right here will be moving around and changing because the market is still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So ticker symbol number one, we were looking at BBAI. And overall, good solid day. But yes, this final 30 minutes, which you're seeing right here, the seller showed up in a very big way. And I'm going to make one adjustment. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level because I think the more, probably the more watched level, and I think the more people that are watching a single level, the more important it becomes, is going to be this area of resistance right here. So by drawing that down, you can see very clean trend line. And while that doesn't guarantee anything, in my opinion, doesn't make it valid, is it plausible to think that the price can turn itself around, come up here and break through there, that break right there creates buying pressure? Absolutely. Again, is that guaranteed to happen? It is not. But is it a valid question as a possibility? In my opinion, absolutely. So keep an eye on that trend line there as that main area of resistance. And then in terms of levels of support, the main level you want to watch right down there around $8.75 as that ideal level. I mean, if the price can stay above there, that would certainly make the chart look the strongest. If the price does not hold above it, then keep an eye on that purple line right there, the 50 period simple moving average, keyword being moving. So as time goes by, that line is going to move itself higher and higher. And as long as the price stays above that level, then from the overarching standpoint, the overall trend is still plenty in the bull's favor. Next one here, BITF. And overall, the chart is doing just fine. Now, I do understand that there's a little bit of perspective that goes into it. Meaning, if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, and you bought right there, and your plan was to buy and sell within, 5 minutes, well, then yeah, from that standpoint, this pullback here is pretty rough. But other than that, when you take a step back and look at everything, the chart is doing just fine. And I talked about on the previous chart, that purple line, 50 period moving average. And here we have a great example of it. You can see that along the way, there have been pullbacks. Don't get me wrong. But notice how all these pullbacks have stayed above that purple line. And that's where the ideal scenario is. Nothing can go straight up. Things need to pull back. Things need to consolidate. But as long as all these pullbacks and consolidations are occurring above that purple line right there, that's ultimately what matters most. So from the broad scope of things, sure, it's pulled back, but just continue to watch that purple line, and as it moves itself higher and higher, as long as the price stays above it, that is what you want to see. In terms of areas of resistance, no need to overcomplicate it. Just a very basic question: where did the party finally stop today? And it stopped up there at $6.20. So very straightforward logic, nothing fancy. So keep an eye on 620 there. That's where the party stopped. So if this upwards trend is going to continue, then yeah, eventually the price will need to battle through that 620 mark. But as of now, even with the pullback here this late afternoon, the overall trend still plenty in the bull's favor. Next one here, Nvts. Very, very nice gap up today, as it sounds like there was more news that came out. But at the end of the day, as long as the price keeps on putting in those higher highs and higher lows, from a technical point of view, that is the name of the game. So let's map out what I would call the ideal level of support. When you say, if you say, Clay, what makes this chart look the absolute strongest moving forward? That would be if the price can stay up here above 1175. Now, if the price falls below 1175, that doesn't mean the chart's ruined or destroyed or anything like that. Because again, as discussed on the previous charts, it's all about that purple line 50 period moving average. So as that line moves higher and higher, as long as the price stays above, everything is just fine. And we have another really good example of that actually on this very own chart. So price made a move up. There was this pullback, but check it out. Pullback stayed above that purple line the entire time. So again, from an overall standpoint, no need to overly panic if the price stays above that level. So continue to watch that dynamic. And then in regards to areas of resistance, seems as though there's a pretty big kind of little battleground here right around $13.15. So so keep an eye on that. But all things considered, yet another day of putting these higher highs, higher lows, and that's what it's all about. Next one, Laes. Big pullback here there in the last 30 minutes, as a lot of these stocks have been doing. And a lot of these are it's just that same general idea. These have been big, solid uptrends, and you just want to map out some of these key areas. So that ideal area right there on this one, what would make this look the absolute strongest, $7.10. If the price falls below it, not the end of the world, because from the big picture standpoint, just continue to watch it. Yeah, you guessed that 50 period moving average. Now, the one dynamic here that I think is a little different is, and what I'm curious about is from more so a resistance standpoint. And I'm finding this area of resistance right there very, very powerful. So keep in mind what I did there was I just connected that point with that point. And by doing that, it did a beautiful spot-on job of forecasting where that area of resistance was. Now, that doesn't mean that if the price curls around, it's going to always be rejected at that red line. My point here is that I think that's an overall area of resistance that makes a lot of sense to keep an eye on moving forward. But anyway, look at it, as I've been saying, from the broad scope of things, higher highs and higher lows. But yeah, definitely keep an eye on that resistance trend line. Next one, OPEN, and had a good solid day on this one when you stop to think about the fact that it actually gapped down, opened up right there, but then by the time the closing bell has shown up, the price has made a good solid move up. But we do definitely have a key area here of resistance. This is just based on a foundational rule in charting. So if you watch past videos, hopefully remember me talking about this 785 as support, but now that the price has dropped down below it, like I said, basic technical analysis states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance, and that is exactly what happened right there. Nice bounce, and then right there it got rejected at that level. So moving forward, public enemy number one in terms of the resistance side of things is going to be right there at $7, and we'll call it 85 cents. If the price can push up through there, then you'll want to keep an eye on that pink line right there, the 200 period moving average. That level right now valued at 825. Now, I would say the more important dynamics right now are, can this price, continue to show progress? And I'm defining progress as the price staying up above this area right here at $7.30. Now, I'm not saying this will occur, but just for explanation's sake, if the price were to come down here and then break down below it, what is that doing to the price? At that moment, the price is essentially right back down to where this bounce started. And not to insult your intelligence, but bounces with genuine strength are not going to make a great move and then go back to where they were, right? They're going to at least show progress, which in this situation, progress is being defined as 730, because if the price goes on there and does something like that, well, now all of a sudden, what do you have? Well, you have a set of lows right here. You have that low right there. And if you envision those as stair steps, well, hey, there you go. Now you have progress being made in the upwards direction. So that is why, in my opinion, at least, that level is very, very important. Real quickly, I want to take a break and help you solve a very common problem out there, and that is this. You'd like to be a day trader, and I'm defining day trader as being able to have as many day trades as you want every single day, but you can't because of the pattern day trading rule. Well, please realize that there is another market out there, and not only does this market require very little money to get involved, but there's also zero pattern day trading rule. And quite frankly, this market moves way better than penny stocks and options and small caps and all that anyways. But I do understand if all this sounds a little too good to be true, what's the catch? Which is why I'm inviting you to check out the live stream Monday through Friday, and I start at 11 a.m. Eastern, and I go for a few hours, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about with your very own eyes. So I've put my money where my mouth is. This is what I'm doing, but I do totally understand that this could sound a little bit like, what's the catch? So come swing by the live stream, ask me any questions you have, but I want you to see it with your very own eyes. Next one here, UGRO, and good solid pattern. So let's get this pattern drawn into place. So we have our resistance part of the pattern there. We have the lower part of the pattern right there. Change that to green to represent support. And just to make the pattern easier to see, let's all keep it the same color. So we have our area of resistance. We have our area of support. We have the nice upwards move right there. And then for you golfers, make it a little bit more visual, put the golf hole down here. This would be a bull pennant pattern. Now, just because something's in a bullish pattern does not mean for sure guaranteed the price is going to go upwards. But is it valid if the price consolidates out, comes up to that point, and gets the break, that break could create additional buying pressure? That is certainly a valid question to throw out there as a possibility. Again, not guaranteed, but a realistic possibility. So if you like bull pennant patterns, you like penny stocks, definitely keep an eye on it. Next one here, TMQ, and I'm going to go through this one a little quicker as I want to respect your time as much as possible, and you just heard me talk about this. So same pattern that, like I said, we literally just talked about. There's the resistance portion of it. There is the support portion of it. And just to make sure everybody sees it, let's keep it the same color here. So we have our area of resistance, support, the explosive move right here, the golf hole down here. So we are looking at another bull pennant. I'd say the big difference here is this is not a penny stock. So if you prefer to stay away from penny stocks, but you do like bull pennant patterns, then here you go. Next one here, CAN. Very, very nice day on this one. And let's just start off with the area of resistance, because no need to get overcomplicated. I think it's become pretty clear that multiple times this afternoon the price would get up right around, give or take, that $1.85 mark, and just cannot quite push through. So that doesn't mean that it can't push through. It just is, pretty much telling us that, yeah, for whatever reason, this is where there are some current sellers hanging around that area. So $1.85, public enemy number one, resistance-wise, headed in to Wednesday. In terms of areas of support, right back to one of those scenarios where, yeah, you have kind of that ideal of support, and then you have the key overarching level. So in this situation, I think if the price could stay above $1.65, that would be great. But as I talked about with these other charts, from the overarching standpoint, just watch that 50-period moving average, and as it moves itself higher and higher, as long as the price stays above that area, then overall the bulls are in full health. Next one here, LAC. Very, very nice day, and I mean, very nice final part of the day. As I speak right now, you can see this candle is not quite at highs, but it's pushing new highs. So on that note, let's squeeze things down. Oh, we might need to go to another time. Oh, all right. All right, now I'm very curious. Is this... Okay, so what we're at here is a weekly time frame. So what we were using was 30-minute, meaning each candle represented 30 minutes of time. In this situation, each one of these candles represents an entire week. And I have to do this because we have to go way far into the chart's history to figure out where these next potential resistance levels are, which the next... Oh, yeah, all right. So we're basically in a miniature blue sky breakout with the next key level of resistance up there at 1150. And that's coming from way back there in 2023. So as of right now, the chart is at not multi-week, not multi-month, multi-year highs right now. And like I said, just because there's a miniature blue sky breakout doesn't mean it's going to go straight up to 1150. But yeah, looking back through the history of the chart here, you can see there just isn't any other congestion until you get right up around that area. So that doesn't guarantee it's headed there, but I don't think at this point anybody would be shocked if this thing works its way up to 1150. So let's hop back down to the 30-minute time frame. And from that angle, ideal level that you want to see hold strong from a support standpoint right here around 950. And then, yeah, you get the rest of the story in terms of... And if you care about the broad scope of things, just watch that purple line. As long as the price stays above it, that's what you want to see. Next one here, TSLA Tesla. And overall, if you watch yesterday's video, these levels will hopefully make sense. But if you did watch it, the one area I talked about as support right here at 427. And while the price did start below it, to give credit due, did a great job of breaking up above it. And then you can see that level went right back to acting as support both there and there. But 427 is by no means a do or die level, because even if the price were to fall below there, you still have that 411.50-ish mark down there. Now, if the price were to go down to 411.50 and then crash through there, that's where the conversation begins to change, and you got to really question, all right, are the bulls officially losing control? But I would not suggest anything like that based off of the past couple of days. But nonetheless, like I said, so 427 remains that level of support. And then in terms of areas of resistance, still all about in the near term, that pink line there, that 200-period moving average, which I talked about right there, behaved as resistance. And then right here, I was going to say got close, but I don't know. I'll let you define if that is close or not. But the point here is the price is still below that pink line. Therefore, that is still technically the initial and key level of resistance right now, valued at 436.40. So overall, Tesla, very nice recovery from these lows, but still has work to do. And that first bit of quote-unquote work to be done is, can it get up above that pink line? So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you are sick and tired of the pattern day trend rule, or you just want to put yourself in an environment where you have very little risk, but you have a whole lot of upside potential, then definitely check out what I've been doing by swinging by the live stream, asking me questions, or just go to the link that you've seen at the screen and read about more of what is available. But one of those things where it does sound a bit sketchy in the sense of, no, what's the catch? That sounds too good to be true. So that's why I say swing by the live stream, see with your very own eyes, and ask me any questions that you may have. So thanks for hanging out, and hopefully I'll see you on the live stream.